You talked about the Suns. I want to get into it. KD, 40 points last night, no free throw attempts. And then he had a comment where he said, how come I'm not considered one of the GOATs? Because, obviously because I went to the Warriors, so I'm just not considered, one of the best. He's like, what haven't I accomplished?
A chip by yourself would be a start. That's the only thing. He has everything else.
Right. But you have put KD in your top 10.
He's one of the greatest players ever played the game. I don't know who doesn't put him in there. I mean, KD's in there for me.
There's a log jam, right? Like we always talk about it. There's 15 guys that should be top 10.
There's one thing that people harp on with KD, and that's it. People don't like that he left and went to Golden State.
Right.
That's it. We don't have to dive too deep into this. If we're talking about his offensive ability, he's top 5. We're talking about him as a scorer. He'll probably end up being top 5. I think he's already close. I don't know what he is, top 10 right now.
Yeah.
By the time he retires, this nigga had 40 last night. How old is he? He's 30.
36?
Bro, he's 36 years old, hitting out 40 pieces. Naismith's 22. Giving him it his all, guarding him. He's just backing him down, turn away, fade over. Mwah! Just giving the whole team 40, no free throws. He's 36. He's one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA. And earlier this year, when I had a top 10 players of all time, and I put Kevin Durant in there, people looked at me crazy, including you. You guys were like, whoa. I'm like, bro, look at this guy has done everything in the NBA from the standpoint, and he's 35 years old, by the way. He's done everything you could possibly do as a player. And he's done everything to solidify himself, not only as a Hall of Famer, that's already been, he achieved that probably 8 years ago. But him, in terms of him being an all-time great, he's done that too. If you're asking, or if you want to answer that question, though, of what puts him in that top tier in terms of, we talking about GOATs, he's got to win a couple more titles.
Right. It's when people say Kobe Bryant's first titles don't count because he had Shaquille O'Neal on his team. Then he went and got some by himself, right? And LeBron's titles with the Heat don't matter. But then you know what, man? That 2016 title felt like 3 titles.
And then he won one with LA. And those titles only validated the ones that he won with the group. Because now they're okay, it's not just because he won that. This guy's a winner.
Yeah.
He won. If Kevin Durant were to win just one, without this Warriors team, even though he has, first off, this whole thing, people are like, they don't count. He had this, every great team that wins has help.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Give me a championship team that's won where there hasn't been more than one star.
Right. I think what people complain about, though, is if you line up all of the players that he's played with, all the All-Stars that he's played with, maybe 2 titles is a little low.
But that's only because he's bounced around from different teams. And again, that goes against him.
Yeah.
Brooklyn's situation goes against him. The Suns situation hasn't worked out great so far. We'll see this postseason. If he's able to win one title, I think it would validate what he did in Golden State more.
Yeah.
Is that fair? No. He was the best player for the Warriors. He was.
Yeah, and we talked about it. They probably don't win those titles without him.
They don't.
Right.
They don't. He made that team unbeatable.
Yeah.
When he was there.
The best team I've ever seen.
They are the best. I think they're the best team ever in the NBA history. That Warriors team, after going, they win 70? What they win 73?
They were 73-9, lost in 2016.
No, let's say that out loud.
70?
These fuckers won 73 games, bro, and lost 9 times. It's nuts, man. Just from a guy who played in the NBA for 11 years, it's unheard of to win that many games.
Right.
73-9, and then to go grab him, Kevin Durant, who that was the best scorer at the time, probably still
second
is.
best player in the NBA.
Yeah, at that time, he was the second best player in the NBA, right behind LeBron. They went and grabbed him. They were unbeatable, man. When we used to play that team, bro, we had to play fucking perfect to be in the game. To be in the game. We had to be having a hell of a night. This guy has 18. He has 16. I got 15. James has 40. This guy has just to be in the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That team was...
If Klay Thompson or Draymond Green's your 4th best player on the team, that's a really good team.
Draymond was definitely the 4th best player. He's not better than Klay.
Oh, it's just on any given night.
But yeah, that's just insane, man.
Yeah.
That team was loaded.
And that 73 and 19, by the way, half the year, people forget that Luke Walton was the coach, right? Steve Kerr was out.
Yeah, anybody could do it. Listen, that team, man... Mike Brown coached, I think, at one point during that stint. He was 25-0 or 25-1. And then he's a good coach. But Luke Walton was 24-0. And Kerr was, that team was so good. I don't even know if they needed a coach.
Yeah.
It's the best team ever was that Warriors team with Kevin Durant on it. And that's because he made it that way. And people lose that. I know he joined the team that beat him, strike one. That's where he really started to lose people, right? He left Russell, his partner in crime, strike two. People really hated that. And then he went to the Warriors, and not only did he play well, but he did what nobody wanted to happen. They fucking won. And they were really good. And they would have won a third time if he didn't fucking, what did he tear his Achilles?
Tears Achilles, yes.
And then fucking Klay Thompson tore his ACL.
Right.
Worst case scenario for a franchise is to have your 2 star players, 2 of your 4-star players tear vital parts of your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Out. Otherwise, they smacked that Raptors team. No offense. I love that Raptors team, but y'all ain't beating Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson team. That series went 5 games. I think they really would have swept them. They might have won 1 game. We went 5 games. We got 1 in Toronto. But, you know, it definitely clouds it, because then what happens is with Kevin, when he asks that question, well, what do I have to do? Brother, the guys we're comparing you to are guys that never even left their team once, good or bad. Kobe was a Laker his whole time. Talking about Michael was a Bull. Well, I don't count the Wizards when he came back. They won their championships there. Who else?
Steph Curry's right there.
Steph Curry.
Larry Bird. These are all the guys in his area in the top 10.
So when we're talking about the top, these guys are like, they didn't move. They didn't have to go somewhere to win. They just stayed put and like they won, or they like accumulated that talent to them. Where like it seems like KD's like a mercenary for hire. This is a guy who can score the ball at a level that we've never seen before, and that's kind of what it comes across. He was a guy that was in OKC and had everything there. Then goes to Golden State, then goes to Brooklyn. Now he's out by Phoenix, and these are all teams that he kind of was like, you know, that's Devin's team he went to. That was Steph's team that he went to.
Yeah,
Brooklyn. I don't know whose team that was. Sean Marks. That was all over the place. But still, you know, so that's it. These things go against him. I'm not saying they're valid or fair. I'm also not saying that it's wrong. It's just like that's what's out there.
Yeah.
That's what clouds people's, you know, judgment. When it comes down to KD, there are things in the mix that when you were comparing him to the GOATs, that's the stuff that is held against him.
I also think people do this now while he's playing and while he's dropping 40 still, you know, 35 years old and everything like that. I think once you're retired and the dust settles, I think people appreciate him more as maybe the greatest offensive player in NBA history. You know what I mean? And that's when people stop forgetting about all the other stuff.
Or they forget. One or the other. They do that.
About Kevin Durant?
Bro, you go ask a 13-year-old right now, like, what were Dwayne Wade's numbers? He has no idea. He just knows that's this guy on Instagram with fucking painted nails and a goddamn suit, getting his jersey retired or a statue. Like, they don't know shit about this guy. It has nothing to do with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade's just not, these kids don't know.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant's still in this era, so they know. Bottom line is, I've had Kevin Durant in my top 10 players of all time. People like crucified me for this when I did that, by the way. But when you look at his numbers and you look at the level of player he's been consistently, from the starting point of his career to now, at 35 years old, dropping 40 last night, there just hasn't been a lot of guys who've been able to do that. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's a top 10 player of all time. Give me an example of other 35-year-olds putting up the numbers Kevin Durant is. I'll wait. There's only a couple guys. Maybe not even.
Yeah.
You know, you got Braun, and then after that, you're like crawling for guys in terms of putting up the numbers KD's putting up. So that's my argument with him.
But also, I get what he's saying.
Individual greatness is why I put him in the top 10.
Right.
He also has won championships. And even though it was the Warriors team, that team would not, he
still shined brightest on the biggest stage, and also he's the rookie of the year, the MVP.
He's stretched out that run for the Warriors, man. Like, bro, the Warriors went from being a really good team who won one to being a dynasty. That has to do with Kevin Durant.
Does it hurt his legacy?
A part of it.
Does it hurt his legacy?
They won without him. That was another thing.
That's another.
They won without him right after that too. But that last Warriors run is going to go down as one of. I mean, brother, for them to come back after a fucking torn ACLs, Clay, Steph, they're down, and then go win one in Boston was some nutty shit, man.
Yeah.
I mean that. So, you know, that's what goes against him, man. If KD can go win in Phoenix, bro, it would only validate his time in Golden State, which I don't think he has to, from my eyes. But I understand, as you're a fan of basketball, you have these things, right? You never won on your own team. You went and joined the best team in the league and you won. Then you left, that team still won without you, and you haven't won since. That's the argument. That's what's against him. Everything else, you can't argue against the guy, man. He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Again, I have him top 10 all time. I don't care what anybody says. Kevin Durant's a top 10 player to ever touch a basketball. I don't give a fuck what you want. You just talked about, could you imagine guys in the 80s seeing this shit? Go throw Kevin Durant in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 70s, 60s. The guy would look like a fucking alien.
Yeah.
Okay? We here's the thing. This is the other thing I'll tell you. we've never seen a player like Kevin Durant ever, other than him, since.
We've tried to make other ones.
We've tried to make 100 of them. We tried to make Bol Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Oh, he's long and he's tall. Can he shoot? Man, nigga ain't Kevin Durant. Ain't nobody Kevin Durant. We haven't seen a Kevin Durant since Kevin Durant or before Kevin Durant. We have never seen a guy his size with that level of guard skills. We've seen guys who had some guard skills and had some capabilities.
Yeah.
Nothing in the realm of Kevin Durant, especially if we're talking shooting and tough shot making. He's a top 10 player of all time, and he should be in the GOAT conversation. I had you in there, KD, so don't worry. If you're asking me what's different, like what's putting you on the back end of that top 10 versus being in that front five, the front five, it's the obvious argument.
Yeah.
Winning on your own terms. You know what I mean? Like and the guys he's going against, it's tough, bro. You're going against KB, dog. You're going against Bean and fucking the Black Cat.
Tim Duncan.
Like, bro, you're going to get some fucking thoroughbreds who won 3, 4, 5 championships on their own, never left their city, just same team, bro.
Right.
It's just a different. So if
do you have him over Dirk? You have him over Dirk.
I have him over Dirk. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do have him over Dirk Nowitzki. I have Kevin Durant over Dirk Nowitzki.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
I do.
Hakeem Olajuwon has the 2 titles just like him, has the MVP just like him.
I have Kevin Durant.
But did it on his own.
I have Kevin Durant over him.
Okay. I have a question. He insists that he's not 7 feet tall. You've obviously been next to him. He is 7 feet. Absolutely, right?
Kevin, if you're listening, I don't know what you are. I could just tell you try to like classify yourself as like a tall wing. It's like, brother, you're like 8 feet tall, bro.
Yeah.
7 foot, 6'10", 6'11". His wingspan's got to be over 7. He's 7 foot, man. He's a footer, bro. I don't know why he's against it. He should be for it. It only makes him more unique.